Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019, episode number 44. And as we move along here, we had to replay. We lost a few weeks of time due to a game crash. And in that replay, a few of the results actually turned out differently. We won 2 of those road games that we had lost. We lost 1 home game that we had won. So 2 wins and a loss ends up at 7-7 in conference instead of 6-8, with 2 left to play, 17-9 overall instead of 16-10. So slightly different on that. Recruiting results have gone ultimately the same, other than that one of the 2 guys that had committed. The one that committed to Villanova, he's still available. Quick look at the standings with 2 games left to play in the conference season. Again, we're right at 500, but you can see just how close it is as we still very much have a beat-em-up season going on here, and it's not completely out of reach for a top 3, but it looks incredibly unlikely, and at the same time, well, the bottom 4 is still... We're only 1 game clear of that. That's how tight this league is. You can see 9-5 at the top, 5-9 at the bottom. Only one 5-9 team. I mean, this is incredibly close. There is nobody that is just losing. And every single team, all 16 teams in the conference, in the top 100 of RPI. I mean, holy cow. All right, so we've got it all to play for with 2 games left. You can see only 4 teams ranked at this point because of how much abuse we have inflicted on one another. And this is what I've been talking about throughout this play series of the top 2 conferences just absolutely taking shots at one another because of how good all these teams are. This is something you don't see in real life, and that's what I really like about this pro-reg league. And that system in real life. I mean, this is what the Premier League looks like in England, in soccer, football, to everyone outside of the US. They beat the snot out of each other, which is why when they go on and do their Champions League, they're outside of the country tournament, their European-wide tournament, they tend to struggle a bit more. Why? Because they've spent so much time just surviving their own league, where you take La Liga teams, the Spanish league, Barcelona, Real Madrid, household names worldwide. They are really good teams. They're not necessarily better than those English teams, but what they are, they're in a conference that's not like this. They're in a conference that's more like our real-life basketball conferences, where on any given year, you have 3 or 4 good teams, or maybe just 1 or 2 good teams. And if you're one of those teams, you can kind of coast through your conference a little bit, and then you can focus on big games. Now, in football, college football, we see a lot of that with your mid-majors, your Boise States that'll go out and just coast through their conference and be able to focus all their time, all their energy on that 1 or 2 big games on the calendar, be healthier come bowl time, and have an advantage over teams that are better than they are, but have tougher competition level week in, week out. Best example, and one of the reasons why I really don't care for this program, you've all heard it before, mouse pointing possibly in a certain direction. All right, now let's get to these next 2 games so we can get things going, because we've got some form of playoffs coming. What's it going to be? How big is it? 17 wins? Is that enough? Yeah, probably not. 7 wins? Is that enough? Looks like not. So we're going to need to get a win or 2 here in the final 2 games. Next up is Stanford. I'm not going to watch these first 2 games. We're just going to go box score on them because the playoffs matter more. And come on, guys, let's take care of business here. Meanwhile, on that recruiting front, we're going to have contact period coming up in March, and it's going to be hugely important because I have 1 of 7 scholarships filled. Now, I'm not looking to fill more than 4 or 5 this season. Okay, we got the win we needed. We're 18-9, we're 8-7. That's probably going to be enough. We beat them comfortably, 91-67. But there was an injured player out there. We're going to have to look into that. Terrible timing. Terrible timing on that. 8-point halftime lead. Even better in the second half. 44 points in the paint to 14. 15-4 on second chance points. You could probably guess where we took the victory in this game. Kirkland, 21 points, 12 rebounds. Nice double-double for him. Minutes down on Cougar and Davies. Could it be one of those two that picked up the injury? 8 assists for Russell. 9 rebounds for Fleming off the bench in just 14 minutes and 10 points. That is really good numbers for him. Defense seemed to have done a lot. They were 33% beyond the arc, but just 37% overall. Half of their field goals came from range. That's crazy. Kirkland, player of the game, and the injury is Davies. It's Davies. At least I have depth, but strained knee, 15 days. That hurts. That hurts a lot. He's going to be out for the conference tournament, or at least limited minutes. Recruiting-wise, I think I expanded my list a bit more than I had last time, but the biggest difference is I already have a point guard in Al Morrison. But I decided, as I was kind of lacking in the shooting guard department, I wanted to see what there was for other point guards. And, it's not the end of the world to bring in 2 point guards instead of a point guard and a shooting guard and play one as the off guard. So many teams do that. It's nice to have 2 ball handlers. So I did take a look at what that would be like and actually found a pretty good point guard option. So my recruiting pool right now for that second guard position is either or for point guard, shooting guard, and our offer is in on a point guard right now. So there's that. All right, last game of the regular season against Texas Tech. They are 16-10. Let's see where we're at with this one final game to play, and we're still not officially clear. If every single one of these teams win and we lose, well, we're in the mix for that bottom 4. But it looks like we do have tiebreakers, according to the rankings, over teams like Stanford, Ole Miss, and Boston College. So I doubt that we would go to the bottom of the list. Not saying we would be, though. Now, the top 3, actually not entirely out of range either, as Memphis is still just 1 game clear. So, maybe. I'm not expecting anything, though, and I kind of don't want to go up to Conference A next season and get my butt handed to me with all these seniors graduating and a lot of worrying signs about how next season could be. But then again, at least I could yo-yo and come back in Conference B again the following year. So that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, and I suppose I shouldn't be opposed to it. But the top 3 teams right now are all top 15 in RPI. Well, we are 33rd. So it's all coming down to the final day of the season. I have never seen standings as close as this in 30 years as a head coach in Draft Day Sports college basketball. And we got the victory we needed. So we go to 9-7. We are comfortably safe. No relegation. But is there something more than that? Memphis lost to Kansas. Kansas, who was last place for so long, but was a really good team. Of course, Memphis was on the road for that one. Quick look at the box score. Close game at the half, but we pulled away in the second. Kirkland, player of the game, 15 points for him, but only 3 rebounds. 18 points for Lockwood. No foul trouble. Lots of steals. 10 of them compared to their 2. They had 14 turnovers. We had just 9. We had more steals than we had turnovers in that game. We nearly had more blocks than we had. Only 12 fouls for the game. That is a good day's work for us. One bad thing, though, we were minus 12 in the rebound department. But they were just 29% from the field, 20 beyond the arc. They were 88% from the free throw line, but because we committed so many fouls, they only had 17 attempts. They nearly outscored us from the free throw line, even though we had 12 more attempts than they did. So, into the standings, and it looks like we do have a tiebreaker, potentially, over Boston College. It looks like everybody had a tiebreaker over Boston College, as all of the 8 and 7s, I think, every single one won their game. So we go to 9 and 7. Stanford, Ole Miss, Memphis. Memphis was the one that lost, and then Boston College. So they ended up at the bottom end of the list. So could it be that we are now in the top 3? It looks like, according to the standings. So maybe we are on our way to Conference A, which is insane. Iowa and Georgia Tech emerge as clear favorites, 2 games clear of the rest of the field. North Carolina State, the only team that's really on their way out. No teams at 8 and 8, which is crazy. But all of those 9 and 7s, and then all of these 7 and 9s, a whole slew of 7 and 9s. 3 of them are going to be relegated. Could it be Arizona State, Washington, Indiana? Probably. Virginia could be yo-yoing back down. Kansas, after being in last place, comes to meet the maker in this crazy 7 and 9 slew. Could it be Notre Dame? Please? Could it be? Please? No? Crazy end of the season here. We could be promoted. A whole, half the conference is eligible to be, depending on tiebreaker, to be relegated. This is crazy. And Florida, it's gone without mention, but Florida is 28-0. I'm not sure I've seen an undefeated team, except for once, maybe twice, total. Especially with these conferences the way they are. Florida is Conference A, 15-0. They still have 1 game to play, so they are not done yet with their regular season. Look at that. You're going all the way down. Those are still ranked teams all the way down to here, except for the bottom 4. The relegated 4, potentially. Cincinnati, Michigan, not quite clear of Utah and Purdue with 1 to play, but let's go ahead and take a look at the recruiting. The week has not wrapped up, but let's see where we're at. So you can see my list is a bit longer. Also, I've ignored the international this time. Again, it's so complicated the way that's set up. But we do have Morrison, and he's already signed on. We're good to go there. Ben Joyner, this is the one I was talking about. This is the guy who committed to Villanova last time. We're not even on his top 10, so chances are he will sign with Villanova any day. This time. Hasn't happened yet. I've been starting to look into some sort of backup center, anticipating that that's going to happen, but I haven't looked too deeply into that just yet. I've already used all or most of my call time for this week, so nothing much to look at. Let's just take a glance at who has offers right now. So Joyner still This one we were talking about. Herrera is the one we've picked up, and he still doesn't even have any interest as of right now. But decent scorer, really good ball handler, good defender, and that's why we've gone for him. Ranked 104. Joyner, 98. Also, Porter, small forward. He's a B overall with really good defense. I seem to find quite a few of those at small forward. I have not been able to recruit any outstanding small forwards in I don't know how long, outside of just the one player who came in, my two elite guys. I've forgotten their names. King and something with the G. Anyway, Barnes, that's the JC transfer guy. We're looking at him. He definitely likes us. We're at the top of his list. It would be nice if he signs on. And that's the 5 we're going for. Essentially one at each position, except for it's 2-point guards instead of a point guard shooting guard, but 2 guards. And he doesn't even like us. See if Florida stays undefeated for the regular season. It's crazy that there's a 5-game gap between the first and second place team in the nation. That's dominance right there. Some serious dominance. And with 19 wins now, I think we are just about secure for the NCAA tournament. I know one more win we would definitely be 20. 20 would certainly be enough. And I think 19's already enough. I mean, we're just outside of the top 25 teams. So you do get those automatic bids, but the Conference A, B teams are weighted pretty heavily. And if we're right there at third in the conference, we're going to get in the tournament. Right? Not 100% certain on that, but we'll get in, right? Florida wins their final game, so they go 29-0 in the regular season and head into the conference tournament without a loss to their name. So they have not faced much adversity this season, presumably. I don't know what they've been through, but a strained knee for Davies. He has 10 days left of recovery. Did we enter a new week yet? I think we did. Well, let's go ahead and take it to March 1st. Where the real madness can get going. RPI bumps just 2 spots, 31 now. After winning both those games, they were at home. But 19-9, 9-7 in conference. 9-7 would be pretty disappointing at any other time, but now in Conference B, where the real beat-em-up game has begun, looking pretty good. And it might even be enough to get to Conference A. We'll see. But it's March 1st. We have key dates. March 19th is when contact begins. So we're still just under a few weeks away on that. And let's go ahead and check in on these guys. Joyner still no commitment. Herrera's the one I'm trying to get through to, and he is very stubborn. And you can see there's a lot of new names and faces around here, so there's plenty of guys that I have not unlocked things. These were the uncommitted, unsigned, qualified players. Gave me a whole new list, and I went for kind of what was left. And you can see pretty much all of them in the top 200, but a couple outside. And those couple outside, for the most part, were already on the list. Could and should do some extra scouting, but we'll wait till next week on that. Let's go ahead and get through what we've got going on. And depending on tournament selection, we may still have one episode left for this season, or not. It really depends on how things go. It depends on how deep I get in the conference tournament. It depends on what tournament we're in, and whether it matters that we stick with that or not. If we're in the NCAA, you gotta think we're going to be, then we've definitely still got some work to do. All right, we've reached the end of the regular season. So we'll check the mail. I better not have anyone declaring for the draft. Got enough issues already. The Norton finalists, Ohio State power forward leads the list. We were on the initial list. Okay, no underclassmen decided to go pro. We had a single candidate in Udonis Cougar who could have gone early. Check standings, see if we're still listed as third, and we are. See Conference A, where that ended up: Florida Gators 16-0, North Carolina 12-4, Maryland 11-5, Louisville, Oklahoma State 10-6, a bunch of 8-8s. Bottom four: Utah, Purdue, Miami, Kentucky, and they're literally the only teams not ranked in Conference A. And we could be on our way to Conference A next season, and I might be lucky to match Kentucky with their 3-13. I have a strong feeling if we are going up that we will yo-yo back down next season. Or just be fighting to try to get 6 wins in conference and try to stay alive. Maybe we should take a look at recruits first. Here we go. Okay, come on, Herrera. It's time. Yes, okay. Finally. And it wasn't even me, it was my assistant coach that finally got through to him. And he's recruitable. Academics, facilities. Alright, good. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that he is so stubborn that other teams, other coaches weren't able to get through to him. I mean, I'm a perfect recruiter. I have max stats on that. Again, I started with nothing but ones, but over the course of the 2017, I carried those attributes, those rankings, the prestige, what level we were at. I carried that all through into this one. And so it developed. And then it continued to develop at the start of this playthrough. And let's see, where are we? That's records. Staff. Hello, staff. There you go. Everything but scouting is maxed out. That's at 53. But everything else is a 100 now. My assistant coaches, not quite there. Nobody's set to expire this year. It's actually a good thing to check. And we've still got 2 weeks till the contact period gets started. And we'll have a first round bye, so there we go. Conference tournament: Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas Tech, Boston College, Kansas, and Memphis, Virginia, and Ole Miss. And what do we have? Ole Miss beating Virginia, Memphis beating Kansas, Boston College beating Texas Tech, and Notre Dame upsetting Clemson. And we're going to get Memphis, a rematch. We played Memphis recently. That was one of our most important wins of the year, but that was at home. We are 65% favorite. Lockwood, Cougar, and Davies all have an advantage. We still... No, we are back to healthy. Okay, good. Now, here's the tricky part. Conference B tournament. It is quarterfinal. It's quarterfinal. I want to watch this game. But if we're going to get much in here, I've got to pick and choose. So I've got to take the risk. And it's a big risk. Because we may not survive this game. Memphis certainly can beat us. But they don't. Into the semifinal. There you go. 77-70. Points in the paint again. Second chance points again. That is our dominant force. We have a very, very good post combination. Lots of points among all the starters outside of Russell, but Russell got it done with dimes. He got 11 assists, but he also had 6 turnovers on the day. Ouch. Rough day for him. Davies, 14 and 12 for the double-double. And again, Fleming, not a big day off the bench for him. So, no complaints, no post-game incidents on this one. And next up is Georgia Tech, who are ranked number 8 in the nation. Florida's still undefeated at 30-0, so they're in the semifinals of their Conference A tournament as well. And no foul trouble. That always seems to be a big one for me. So Georgia Tech beating Boston College 90-75. Notre Dame with another upset beating number 6 ranked Iowa. Stanford getting through on Ole Miss. Boy, I would like to have that matchup. I don't get it though. Stanford and Notre Dame. You got to figure whoever wins our game's got to be the favorite. Those are both lower ranked teams. And yes, I'm definitely the 3 seed, because that's the 2 seed. The number 1 seed knocked off. And there's the 4 seed coming through. So whoever wins that game gets the second promotion spot. We are both promoted already, and yes, I'm headed to Conference A next season. Here we go. Matchup, Georgia Tech is the favorite, but not by much. We do have the post advantage, which has worked really well for us this season. Apparently we have the bench advantage as well. Cougar at 4 stars is worse than Callier, and Callier's a freshman as well. Wow. Okay. Lockwood is even Stevens, but Russell is down on Minton. And we're going to take a look at the team schedule. What happened with Georgia Tech this year? Georgia Tech, number 11 at home, beat them 81-48. 81-48, but it was at home. At home. This is not at home. But we beat them 81-48. That has got to be our biggest win of the entire season right there. Can be done. We can beat them again. We'll watch this game. And not the championship game. Even if we win, we're not watching the championship game. This is like the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. Most years. This year was a bit of an exception. My Blazers, for one thing, swept, even though they led more minutes by far in the series. And yet they didn't win a game. And also, the West didn't win the finals this year. And in most years anyway, you've had, the kind of unfair advantage of best player in the world being in the Eastern Conference, taking his team to the finals year after year, but there's the clear dominance factor of the Western Conference has been far better than the Eastern Conference for going on 20 years now. We got a 2-point game here early on in this one. We've got a nice early advantage in rebound department, but we have the first 2 turnovers of the game, and they have not committed one yet. We are shooting 75% from the field through the first 8 attempts, though we haven't made a free throw. Still looking good, though. 8 for 13 from the field, and we've got ourselves a 2-point lead after that three-pointer. But Georgia Tech goes right down to the other end and makes a three of their own, but a few buckets later, and we've got a 4-point lead. Fleming, 7 points off the bench in this one. And Endurance, what the heck? Davies, 2 fouls, that's why. 2 very quick fouls by Nicholas Davies, and Fleming had to come in. Kirkland now in there, and Fleming again trying to play, so Nick Few has to get into the game. Nick Few not playing much this year after featuring prominently for a long time for the team, ever since freshman year. All right, we got a 6-point lead here with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Rebounding has been a solid advantage for us with a +10. Turnovers now a +1. Field goal percentage settled down a little bit, but we're still at 60% from the field, holding them to 43. Free throws is still a bit of an issue, but they're 4 for 12 beyond the arc, and that's helping keep them in the game. But it's a 7-point lead with 3 to play, and I could and should use a timeout here, but we do have some momentum, so this is not a good time to use that. Give it away. It's a 12-point lead. 13-point lead. Momentum building yet further. No reason, I'll just lose that 30-second timeout. No reason to use it. Quick transition dunk there, and another one right before halftime. And it's 49-34 at the half. We've doubled them up on rebounds, and that is a very big reason for it as well. We're shooting well, so, you know, that all goes together. +5 on turnovers, except for we got 2 turnovers in the first 30 seconds of the second half. So that's a poor start. 58% from the field still, and they're at 40%. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but we've merely missed more free throws than we've missed field goals at this point. 16 minutes ago, quickly moving through the second half, but the lead is still there solidly now at 16 points. We could be on our way to a conference championship game. Could we get a conference championship this year? That's a good way to take a massive tie where we somehow had enough tiebreakers to claim a promotion. I think it means a whole lot more if we win a conference championship through the playoff, as opposed to just getting promoted on a 9-7 record. I mean, it just doesn't feel right to get promoted on 9-7, just surviving a giant tiebreaker system. Turnovers +3, rebounds +12, and field goals still, percentage is slipping, but it's still above 50%, and theirs is slipping as well, so that is what's keeping the lead. Though they are a little bit closer now, and actually just like that, 7 points is the gap. Going to use a timeout here to take away their momentum, and it was a good timeout as we come out and score from it. But they're definitely trying to make a game of it. It's back to single digits. 6-point lead. 6 minutes to play. We've taken away their momentum to put it back to 8 points. Rebound there. Oof. Not sure what we got whistled for. Illegal screen, maybe? Somehow they have the momentum, and I don't quite understand how or why, but the momentum's finally gone, and the lead's at 11 with 2 to play. That's going to just about be enough. All right. Ball inside. Fouled. Free throws made. 13-point lead. I think that's going to do it. 1.5 minutes. Rebound. Yeah. Ball inside. Oh. 3 chances. Double putbacks. Offensive rebounds. We were all over those rebounds, and that's really making a difference. We are +22 on rebounds. Turnovers are level. Both teams doing a really poor job protecting the ball, as we each have 20 turnovers. But we are 54% from the field. They are 37% from the field. It is quite clear when and where this game has been won or lost through rebounds and field goal percentage. We actually end the game with a field goal to push the lead back to 20. And we win 85-65. Player-wise, Davies had 19. Cougar 13 and 12 for the double-double. Big day for the freshman. Thomas Fleming off the bench. A lot of minutes today, 15 with the foul trouble. The foul trouble settled down. We only ended up with, 2 guys with 4 fouls apiece. 12 assists for Russell. But we more than doubled them up on rebounds, and that was the clear advantage. We shot well, and when somebody missed, we grabbed the bulk of the rebounds. That's going to put us into that conference championship, and now guaranteed we are headed to the tournament as one of the higher seeds, most likely. Top 4, top 5 seed. And it's Notre Dame. And Notre Dame gets ranked. Really? Why? They're a 7-9 team in conference, and they're ranked. I'm 9-7 with a much better record than them, and I'm not ranked. And by the way, in the last episode, we beat Notre Dame. But in the replay, told you things went a little bit differently after the game crashed. We had to reset to the start of the month of February. Notre Dame beat us the second time around. So, I want this game. I really want this game. Let's check the scouting report before I skip. And there you go, my decision and Ben Joyner, and it is Villanova. So in the end, Ben Joyner has gone to Villanova. Let me get right back out there and take care of that. We'll look at centers only. So Joyner gone. Jepson is right there at 102, but May is right there at 109. None of these guys are good defenders. That's why I was sticking with Joyner. Nobody's particularly good on the ball or scorers. They're all good inside scorers, though, when they do. The best athlete is Jepson. We do have a couple good guys when it comes to blocking, but none of them are great rebounders, though there's a good one in Rivera. Terrible athlete, though. But he'll get steals, he'll get blocks, and he's got a decent outside shot. Ranked number 145. Just qualifies to come to the school. That could be a concern. What about we go down the list a little further? Doesn't have the outside shot. Doesn't make the free throws. Will get blocks. Is that enough? This kid's from Oregon and really likes us and won't have issues. This could be a smart signing. Number 7 on his list. Are we on the list at all for Rivera? No. Let's call him and see what do we need to know about you. You care about location, really. That's all, and we are nowhere near Mississippi. Facilities will be a difficult pitch. Meanwhile, yeah, you're from the area. You know what? This is a downgrade, but I need a few slam dunks, and I think he needs to be one of them. He's not quite the player of these other guys, but that's a solid recruit, and that's a solid win. I think that scholarship, that's one we need to settle on. Next year we need to look for somebody who will be better than him. I mean, that's looking like, you know, your 3.5 star kind of guy who's going to be more of 8th man, 9th man, and not necessarily a key player for us, but gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, we're not going to watch this game, but I want this game. And we got it, 87-66, conference champions. That's the way to get the job done. And Notre Dame is going to Conference A, so we'll pick that up as our new rival. Points in the paint, we had the advantage, but not by much. We led by a lot in this game. And there was a continuation first half into second half. Cougar 18 points, stepping up more and more for him, but he did have 4 fouls. He did have 2 rebounds only, but 4 for 6 beyond the arc. 3 steals for him. Kirkland had a few steals as well. 10 rebounds. Davies 12 and 12 for the double-double. Russell, Lockwood, both high assists for them, and 18 points for each. And Fleming 13 off the bench. And we held them to 38% from the field. Defense really carrying us this season. Looking at the stats now, it's Lockwood 14 points per game. He's really carried us through the conference portion of the season. Russell still over 7 assists. Davies 7 rebounds per game. Cougar 1.3 blocks per game. And Kirkland 1.7 steals per game. Number 1 assists in the nation. Number 5 points. Steals, turnovers, all up there. Protecting the ball really well. Steals number 1 in the nation. So we're getting 9.6 steals per game. We're only giving up 4.4 per game. And that's where the turnovers are quite low. But defense, look at that. We're protecting the ball. We're taking the ball. Making a really big difference. Rebounds could be better, and the blocks could be better. But we're right there. And that's what we're giving up, actually, 6.2. What we're doing is 6.8. Florida won Conference A. They won the tournament. So they continue to pick up their victories as well, cruising through. They're going to be the clear number 1 overall seed. We're definitely not at that level. And somehow Conference B, the very conference below them, we just won it. So we pick up a conference championship, and that's big for this season. But yeah. Wait. We need next opponent selection show. You just haven't updated, right? By the way, our RPI now up to 25th. And we'll watch the selection show here. The tournament is going to be played in the next episode, but guaranteed we're in. With the conference championship win, we've got the automatic bid into the tournament regardless of our record. Playing games. Alright, number 1 seed, of course, overall, Florida in the Philadelphia region. Duke gets the 2 seed, Oregon gets the 3 seed, and Oklahoma the 4 seed. I would suspect that we'll be at least a top 4 seed now, but maybe not. Okay, the second number 1 seed goes to North Carolina. That is the number 2 team overall in the nation. Oklahoma State, Iowa, and there you go, a 4 seed. So Iowa is our potential second round matchup with Butler. Actually, that's not second round, that would be third round matchup, right? Sweet 16. Oregon State is that second round matchup. There's Notre Dame. Maryland gets the third 1 seed, and they're the next. I know they were third in Conference A anyway. Stanford, there's Boston College. And Louisville gets a final 1 seed. There's Georgia Tech gets a 3 seed. All right. So 22-9, 9-7 in conference, but conference champion. RPI now all the way up to 20 after picking up that victory. And we are ranked 25th apparently, though I don't see anything there. Maybe we're on a tie with Alabama in terms of points. We're a week away from contact period. See if we can go for one, hopefully up to 5 players recruited. We need at least 4, otherwise we are in some serious trouble. So we'll need to get at least 3 of the 4 guys that we're targeting. Otherwise things could get real ugly next season. And even so, even if we get all 4 of them, things could still get real ugly next season. Got a lot of guys graduating, so we're going to have a lot of new starters. We're going to have a very young roster, regardless of whether I get my recruits or not. And we're playing in Conference A. Holy cow. Prepare to be yo-yoed. But hey, we still have this season to finish up. We've got the NCAA tournament coming up. We've got a 4 seed. We're going to be up against Butler. Exciting times, exciting times. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my Road to the Record. Bye for now.